Each week we're hearing more and more stories about how people entering this country illegally are being treated. And oftentimes the news is a huge slap in the face to the rest of America, and especially Americans who've been waiting for a bit of reprieve of their own. Now, most recently we reported on this refurbished detention center near San Antonio. It's always been a detention facility, but it recently got an upgrade, and all of the suites feature flat screen televisions. The whole facility got a new facelift, a good paint job. It has a soccer field, and of course a little ping pong action. Now, this is just one facility. Nationwide, illegal aliens are enjoying a slew of taxpayer-subsidized benefits. This includes housing, food, vocational training, education, legal counsel, and also an allowance. Now, take into consideration that San Antonio on any given night has about 3,000 homeless people in its city. Now, do you think that these homeless people are enjoying a hot meal and flat screen television and a little game of ping pong? Absolutely not. Now, here are just a few types of Americans who have it worse off than people who are in this country illegally. While illegal immigrants are enjoying free health care, shelter, and a hot meal at military bases across the country, there were nearly 60,000 homeless veterans on any given night in 2013. Now, back in 2008, Barack Obama promised to make the VA a leader of healthcare reform so that our veterans could get the best care possible. Now, while Obama has promised to use his magic pen to pass sweeping immigration reform practically overnight, veterans are literally dying waiting for him to fulfill his promise to them 6 years later. And last December, Democrats rallied to reduce cost of living increases for veterans. Meanwhile, they blocked Senator Jeff Sessions' bill, which would have closed a tax loophole for illegal immigrants. This $4.2 billion loophole allows illegal aliens to collect child tax credits from the IRS even if they pay no taxes. Now, these fraudulent payments to illegal aliens would have offset the cuts to veterans' benefits. And in 2013, the Department of Homeland Security released more than 36,000 known convicted criminal illegal aliens. These were illegal aliens that were convicted of crimes of sexual assault, homicide, vehicle convictions, dangerous drug convictions, and 16,000 drunk or drugged driving convictions. However, it is the veterans that the Department of Homeland Security has listed as domestic extremists and threats to America. And the list goes on and on. After sacrificing so much for this country, veterans are clearly being mistreated, while illegal aliens breaking the law to enter this country, the red carpet's rolled out for them. And it's not just our veterans. What about the children that actually are our responsibility, America's school children? Texas taxpayers are going to be shelling out approximately $45 million to educate foreign minors. In Texas alone, around 4,800 foreign minors have been set free. Now, assuming that these minors aren't immediately deported, which they won't be, they're going to be expected to enter the public school system come fall. Now, Texas Education Agency General Counsel David Anderson reportedly said that the state pays about $7,900 per student to districts. Now, these children are going to come with certain needs like free or reduced lunch qualification, as well as bilingual or special needs. So we'll estimate about $9,500 per student to be paid to the districts for those students. Texas is going to shell out more than $45 million to educate these children. Now, take into consideration that for years, we have been suffering with education budget cuts, reduced free lunches. They don't have school buses to take their children to and from school. There's not enough teachers to teach the amount of kids that are in their classroom already, so they're getting subpar education. And more than 2/3 of states are providing less per student funding for K-12 education than they did in fiscal year 2008. So this means at a time when it is so important to be developing technical and analytical skills for American students so we can compete globally, funding is being cut and schools are forced to scale back the educational services that they provide. So now all of a sudden, states are going to be forking over millions of dollars to pay for these illegal alien children. What about our children? Who is going to be taking care of the children here in America? If there was ever any more proof that you needed that this country is quickly devolving into a third world status, look at how it educates its children. And not only that, but let's talk about the foster children in America. The federal government is desperate to find housing for all of these illegal immigrants, and they are willing to pay up to $40 a day for anyone who's willing to foster. You can make up to $7,400 a month, considering you can house up to 6 illegal aliens at any given time. Now, let's look at what states pay to foster your average American child. More than 250,000 children entered foster care in fiscal year 2012. But the average foster care reimbursement rates to foster an American child are less than half of what the government is willing to pay to shelter an illegal. Average rates are around $500 a month, far less in some states. Now, the government is basically incentivizing the fostering of one group over another. And not only that, foster children in America age out of state care at the age of 18. Most of them are just put out into the world on their own without housing, financial assistance, or emotional support. Now compare that to this current illegal immigration effort where adults will be fostered up to age 23. Now, this might be surprising given that the mainstream media has largely portrayed this border crisis as being only children. Now, Nancy Pelosi just wants us to all think of these kids as refugee baby Jesus. But what about the fact that nearly 1/4 of all of America's homeless were children in 2013? According to the most recent annual homeless assessment report to Congress, in 2013, there were about 610,000 homeless individuals in the United States, and more than 215,000 of them are living unsheltered. So where is the $1 billion emergency fund to build these facilities for our citizens, most of whom are veterans, women, and children? And not to mention the fact that these facilities are used to house citizens in the event of an emergency. Now, earlier this year, Texas Governor Rick Perry voiced his concerns about what would happen in the event of an emergency, saying, if these illegal immigrants are in these detention facilities, citizens will have nowhere to go. Well, he was right to worry. National Weather Service Coordinator Barry Goldsmith told reporters, should a hurricane or other life-threatening catastrophic weather event impact South Texas, illegal aliens occupying various shelters will be first in line to get to safer ground. Women and children first, unless you are an American. And while we're talking about all of these illegal immigrants, what about the people who have gone through the process of entering this country legally? Americans who came here through the legal immigration process have spent years waiting to qualify for U.S. citizenship. They have had to shuffle through years of paperwork, waiting periods, and fees. They must prove the ability to read, write, and speak basic English, prove they are free from contagious diseases, understand how our government works, and they must also prove that they are people of good moral character who will respect the U.S. Constitution. Those entering the country now in record numbers have already proven that they disregard the laws of this nation. And in fact, they don't care about entering this country illegally because they believe that they're going to be forgiven for breaking the law and then granted amnesty without having to go through the process of becoming a legal citizen to the United States of America. And in fact, being a criminal and breaking the law is just another area where it pays to be in the country illegally. Now, I know what you're thinking. Criminals deserve whatever they've got coming to them. But the issue is that American citizens convicted of the exact same crime as an illegal alien are being treated much worse. Now, last summer, Judicial Watch reported that legislation crafted by the bipartisan Gang of Eight in the U.S. Senate would grant amnesty to illegal aliens with drunk driving, domestic violence, aggravated assault, and child abuse convictions. However, being guilty of these crimes would permanently bar an applicant from legally obtaining citizenship to the U.S. So will we begin to allow anyone with a checkered past to enter the United States, or just those who entered the country illegally? Now, according to top Virginia official Corey Stewart, he said it's ironic that under the Adam Walsh Child Protection and Safety Act, if you are a U.S. citizen and you are a sex offender, you are registered and you're tracked. But if you are an illegal alien, the local police have no way of knowing where you are because ICE will not tell you. The justification given, privacy. Now, of course, this privacy means that illegal alien sexual offenders are free to repeat crimes, and they do. This chart compares the consequences for an array of crimes and discovers that while illegal immigrants might be exonerated and legalized, U.S. citizens and legal immigrants face years of incarceration or temporary expulsion from the country for committing the same crime. And of course, there's the TSA, who's supposed to be protecting us all from terrorists. Now, they just love to exert their authority by sticking their hands down the pants of wheelchair-bound little girls or forcing American moms to drink their own breast milk. And they humiliate cancer victims, all in the name of keeping America safe. However, it emerged that the TSA was allowing illegal aliens to fly on commercial airliners inside the U.S. without verifiable identification. As long as the individual was able to produce a notice to appear form, they were allowed to board the plane. So clearly, this means the TSA sees American mothers' breast milk as more of a terror threat than illegal aliens or people who are just crossing the border. They could be any kind of terrorist, who knows? The message is loud and clear. No one is above the law, unless you're an illegal alien.
Hi, I'm Dr. Edward Group. Today I'd like to talk about the war on women. You've experienced and heard about the benefits of super male vitality. Now, the new formula has arrived. Introducing the new Super Female Vitality. I have specifically designed this formula to help the body naturally regulate itself without the use of artificial hormones. Key ingredients chosen from the highest quality sources. Each of these ingredients works synergistically with the female body in order to maximize overall vitality. You've heard the reviews and the feedback on how the original Super Male Vitality has revitalized relationships. Now, both the man and the woman can have the revitalization in their own bodies with Super Male Vitality and Super Female Vitality. Secure your Super Female Vitality today from our limited stock at InfoWarsLife.com.